Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Let's make a start. We'll start with our Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Jayo Giravardhari Yashodanandan Rajjana Ranjan Yashodanandan Rajjana Ranjan Yamuna Tiravanchari Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunj Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare Hari Hari Bol. Okay, stop sharing this and do some praise. Om Gyan Timirasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshu Unmiritam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Staptam Yena Bhutle Samrupa Akdamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnava Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvetam Savadutam Krishna Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinbandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavan Veshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pranmami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpato Breyascha Kirpa Sindhuve Vacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasti Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpatah Vande Shri Guru Dit Taranam Brahmananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Hari Om Tassat Naram Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Tato Jemuduriya Nashta Presha Abduresho Nityam Bhagavad-Sevayā Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki Hare Krishna. Okay, so we're doing verses 8 to 12 today. I don't know whether we'll be able to cover them all today, but we'll do our best. Last thing we're going to do is rush through them. We're going to take it easy. And if we don't complete them, we'll complete them on Wednesday. So let's share the verses. Okay. So verse 8. Dharma svanusistha pamsam vishwaksena kathasuya natapa dayad yadi ratim sharma eva hi kevalam. So dharma is the occupation. swanusthitistha, executed in terms of one's own position, pumsam, of humankind, Vishvaksena, the personality of Godhead, the plenary portion, Kathasu, in the message of Yaha, what is, na, not, Utpadayet, does produce, Yadi, if, Ratim, attraction, Sharma, useless labor, Eva, only, he, certainly, Kevalam, entirely. So dharma swanustitha pumsam vishvaksena kathasuya notpadayed yadi ratim sharma eva hi kevalam. What does it mean? It means the occupational activities of man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message or personality of Godhead. So Srila Prabhupada explains that there are different occupational activities in terms of man's different conceptions of life. To the gross materialist, who cannot see anything beyond the gross material body, there is nothing beyond the senses. So basically, whatever materialist is doing, he's doing for his sense gratification. They want to earn money so they can buy different gadgets for their own, buy maybe a surround sound cinema, a screen, and all this and that, and stereo systems, and go on holidays and buy all sorts of things just for their own sense gratification, basically, so they can have a good feel factor. Therefore, his occupational activities are limited to concentrated and extended selfishness. Concentrated selfishness centers around the person's body. This is generally seen amongst the lower animals. So basically, that kind of person is compared to an animal, because they just want to gratify their senses. Extended selfishness is manifested in human society and centers around the family, society, community, nation, and world with a view to gross bodily comfort. So basically, the lowest will be when you're selfish, you're just thinking about yourself, and then you can extend that to society, friends, family, like that. You're doing things for them. That's, here he says, is called extended selfishness. So you're still doing it for your own senses. You just want to enjoy. It makes you feel good, right? Helping, nothing wrong with it, but with what consciousness you're doing. That's the key. Above these gross materialists are the mental speculators who hover aloft in the mental spheres, and their occupational duties involve making poetry and philosophy or propagating some ism with the same aim of selfishness limited to the body and the mind. So it's still a material activity. But above the mind, body and mind is the dormant spirit soul. So everything we've done so far, you done it for your own gratification, for your body. But above them is a spirit soul. So what are you doing for the spirit soul? Because that's what you really are. So only when you're confusing yourself that you are this body or mind, that you're concentrating all these activities for their satisfaction. But you are actually a spirit soul. So what are you doing for yourself? So although we're calling it selfishness, but really you're not doing anything for yourself at all. What you should be doing for the spirit soul, whose absence from the body makes the whole range of bodily and mental selfishness completely null and void. But less intelligent people have no information of the needs of the spirit soul. This is the thing. Just satisfying the body and the mind. Because foolish people have no information of the soul and how it is beyond the purview of the body and mind, they are not satisfied in the performance of their occupational duties. The question of the satisfaction of the self is raised herein. The self is beyond the gross body and subtle mind. He is the potent active principle of the body and mind. Without knowing the need of the dormant soul, one cannot be happy simply with emolument of the body and mind. The body and mind are but superfluous outer coverings of the spirit soul. So it's just an instrument or a shell that we are in. The spirit soul's needs must be fulfilled. Simply by cleansing the cage of the bird, which is the body, one does not satisfy the bird. One must actually know the needs of the bird himself. So we're looking after the cage, but we're not looking after the actual bird inside. The need of the spirit soul is that he wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. So Srila Prabhupada is explaining here what the needs of the soul are. He wants to get out of the limited sphere of material bondage and fulfill his desire for complete freedom. So we are imprisoned inside this material shell, this material body. And how do we get freedom from it? Because life after life, we're getting these cages that we are engrossed in. He wants to get out of the covered walls of the great universe. So we are trapped in the body, we are trapped on this planet, and we are trapped in this universe. He wants to see the free light and the spirit. That complete freedom is achieved when he meets the complete spirit, the personality of Godhead. There is a dormant affection for God within everyone. Spiritual existence is manifested through the gross body and mind, and in the form of perverted affection for gross and subtle matter. Therefore, we have to engage ourselves in occupational engagements that will evoke our divine consciousness. This is possible only by hearing and chanting the divine activities of the Supreme Lord. So we have to connect with spiritual activities. And any occupational activity which does not help one to achieve attachment for hearing and chanting the transcendental message of Godhead is said herein to be simply a waste of time. This is because although occupational duties or whatever ism they belong to cannot give liberation to the soul. Okay, so we can do pious activities, then next time we'll just get nice birth and be wealthy, and you can continue to do your isms life after life, but it does not free you from this cycle of birth and death. We're still here doing the same things, feeling good because we've helped so many people, and that's far as it will take you. Even the activities of salvationists are considered to be useless because of the failure to pick up the fountainhead of all liberties. The gross materialist can practically see that his material gain is limited only to time and space, either in this world or in the other. Even if he goes up to the Swargalok, he will find no permanent abode for his hankering soul. The hankering soul must be satisfied by the perfect scientific process of perfect devotional service. So even the higher planets, you have the same problem there. So material, everybody is material minded, then they are looking for material sense gratification. Higher planets, you get a bit more gratification, less misery. Here you're getting more misery, less gratification. It's all there. So Srila Prabhupada's disciples, they used to drive taxis and work in factories, but they weren't doing it for their sense gratification. So this is what Prabhupada is saying, that his disciples really helped him a lot, to get to where he is. Prabhupada, would have been difficult for him if he didn't get the support. I mean, there's like one devotee was a teacher and used to give his wages to Prabhupada. He take a little bit expenses and give the rest to Prabhupada for preaching facilities, So they would give and the rest of them as well, taxi driver, factory workers, they would give him all their wages. How many people can do that? And so Srila Prabhupada said the karmi's goal is sense gratification, but that's like a child building a sandcastle which then he leaves behind when going up. So we built so much, we have so many assets and everything. And, they're like billionaires who have properties all over the world. They spend their life, they probably go through divorces because they don't give time to each other. They build so much. And these properties, they don't even visit them, they're there. They never have time to go to them. And you just keep building and building and building like a sandcastle, and then everything is left here. So Bhakti Stanta Saraswati Thakur used to say, Dandvat class of man or hearing class of man. So about hearing, we're talking about hearing now in this purport. So Sripada's spiritual master, you said there's two types of devotee, like a Dandvat class of man or hearing class of man. So it's very important to hear, because Dandvat class man simply knows how to make Dandvats, that's all. Not interested in hearing. So hearing is very important. You're sort of paying your obeisances all the time and you're showing you're humble, but you're not learning anything. You're just saying, yes, Prabhuji, yes, Prabhuji. But what are you doing, as a devotee? What are you doing to help yourself, to help this spirit soul? So hearing Krishna mantra, Bhagavad-Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, this way everything will be revealed. And glorifying Krishna. We have to see whether we are developing attachment for Krishna. You have to review yourself, because attachment means love, whether you're trying to satisfy Krishna. So you check that, whatever activities I'm doing, am I trying to please Krishna? And how much love do I have for Krishna? How much love do I have for chanting? That's the test. So if you're not progressing, if you're not getting love of Krishna, you're not feeling more attraction to glorification or pastimes or the chanting, then Prabhupada says that it's simply laboring and wasting time. It's not, this process is not completely wasting, but if you're doing work and you're not doing that, I can help the mission or do something, or you see it as as something that's given to you from Krishna, and then you can use those qualities in the mission as well, then it's like, it's worth doing. We can't go maybe as far as some of the Prabhupada's devotees are, giving everything to Krishna. Maybe, we have other responsibilities, but then when we see those other responsibilities as part of Krishna, putting Krishna in the center, we see them in our family and our children and house, as the house is a temple and our family is given to us by Krishna to look after, so with that kind of consciousness, yes, we're doing everything for Krishna, then we're doing for Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada said, thing is, we have to let go attachments. We do things as a service. Everything should be done as a service. Even paying your bills and everything is a service, because this house is Krishna's house, and want to maintain it. We need shelter. We need this temple in our house to serve the deities. So let go of attachments, very important. And this example of the monkey and banana, because we have attachment. We think attachments are not letting go of us, but it's actually us. We're not letting go of the attachment. So, we have free will. We can let go of attachments. And this example of the monkey and the banana in the jar is that the monkey puts his hand inside the jar and he grabs the banana. And then he's trying to bring the banana out of the jar, and he finds that the banana won't come out, but he doesn't want to let it go. Now his hand is stuck in there as well, because doesn't want to release the banana, and without releasing the banana, his hand can't come out. So we are in that kind of situation, that we're not letting go of our attachments, and we are stuck in this material bondage, just like the monkey is stuck, his hand is stuck in the jar. So Srila Prabhupada explained that Maya is so thorough, just like water. If there's one little hole, the water will just find its way immediately to that hole, right? And the problem is our consciousness has so many holes. So remedy is to light up the fire of devotion, like hearing and chanting, as mentioned, using the fuel of hearing and chanting, and don't pour water, what's the water? The Maya, sense gratification. Don't pour the water and extinguish the fire, because we are lighting up the fire of devotion, but then with Maya, with sense gratification, we are again putting water on it. So the fire lights, and then we put water. It's like a hathi mata, isn't it? You take a bath, the elephant takes a bath, and then he comes back to the mud again, puts mud all over his body. So that's another example. So like that, here it's mentioned that we're lighting up the fire of devotion. We really get into it, and then we spoil it by sense gratification. So we have to be careful. Right. So let's go to the next one. Okay. So 1.2.9 Dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthaya yo pakalpate narthasya dharmi kantasya kamo lambhaya hi smritaha. So dharmasya, occupational engagement, he certainly apavarg yasya, ultimate liberation, not artha, end, arthaya, for material gain, upakalpate is meant for neither arthasya, of material gain, dharam eka, antasya, for one who is engaged in the ultimate occupational service, kamha, which is sense gratification, labha, attainment of, he exactly, smritha, is described by the great sages. So dharmasya hi apavargasya nartho arthaya yopa kalpate narthasya dharmai kantasya kamo labhaya hi smritha. So all occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. They should never be performed for material gain. Furthermore, according to sages, one is engaged in the ultimate occupation service should never use material gain to cultivate such sense gratification. So occupational engagements are certainly meant for ultimate liberation. So we have a certain kind of psychophysical nature that God's given us. We use that. We could do that kind of service that comes easily to us, and we can make a living out of it, and we enjoy doing, and we can also use in Krishna's service. That is our nature. Then we know that is our nature. So something we can do well without too much effort. We can do it basically with our eyes closed. Something we enjoy doing it, and we can make a living out of it, and we can use it in Krishna's service as well at the temple. We can use that mentality, that psychophysical nature in Krishna's service. Then you know that is you. Okay, that is you. If you work like that, you pleasing Krishna, because that's how Krishna made you to do. So this varnashrama dharma, like with occupational duties, we don't try to do somebody else's duty. Do what comes naturally to you, your nature, work according to your nature, basically. So we have already discussed that pure devotional service to the Lord is automatically followed by perfect knowledge and detachment from material existence, as we were saying last time. So when you do devotional service, you get knowledge and you get detachment from material sense gratification. But there are others who consider that all kinds of different occupational engagements, including those of religion, are meant for material gain. The general tendency of any ordinary man in any part of the world is to gain some material profit in exchange for religious or any other occupational service. Even in the Vedic literatures, for all sorts of religious performances, an allurement of material gain is offered. And most people are attracted by such allurements or blessings of religiosity. Why are such so-called men of religion allured by material gain? Srila Prabhupada explains that because material gain can enable one to fulfill desires, which in turn satisfies sense gratification. So that's why we're looking for material gain, so we can enjoy to our best capacity. But how much can you enjoy, basically, right? You get fed up of it. Second, if you eat too much, it doesn't matter if it's good food, you eat too much, then you're going to suffer, and your health can suffer as well. Because material gain can enable one to fulfill desire, which in turn satisfies great sense gratification. This cycle of occupational engagements includes so-called religiosity, followed by material gain, and material gain, followed by fulfillment of desires. Sense gratification is the general way for all sorts of fully occupied men. But in the statement of Sutta Goswami, as per the verdict of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is nullified by the present shloka. One should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized is described as follows. So, Sutta Goswami explaining to the sages all this, is giving commentary on all this and how things should be done. So, just see what Srila Prabhupada says. Yeah, so there was a word called apavarga in this shloka. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, so dharmasya hi apavargasya. Apavargasya, ultimate liberation. Or from. So Srila Prabhupada explains that one should not engage himself in any sort of occupational service for material gain only, nor should material gain should be utilized for sense gratification. How material gain should be utilized? As follows. Material life is called pavarg. So we talk about apavarg in the shloka. Material life is called pavarg. And this pavarg, it comes with 5 different states of suffering, right? So it's a play on words. Material life comes in 5 sorts of, or pavarg comes with 5 sorts of suffering. So if you're enjoying material life, or you're trying to enjoy material life, or you're doing something about enjoying material life, it comes with 5 types of suffering. So first one is Parsuram, that's very hard labor. Faina, foam from the mouth. For example, we see a horse foaming at the mouth with heavy labor. Bhaya arthata, disappointments. In spite of so much hard labor, at the end we find disappointment as well. Because we always find somebody's better than us, got more than us, it's never enough, right? Bhaya or fear. In material life, one is always in the blazing fire of fear, since no one knows what will happen next. Mrityu, when one attempts to nullify these 5 different core states of life, then you're going to die anyway. So one achieves apavarga or liberation from the punishment of material existence. So once we've had enough, we realize that this these things, or this material, chasing after material life is just a lot of misery. After getting the punishment, then we're looking for liberation, to mukti do Bhagwan. We want to get out of this nonsense and of these miseries that, by chasing these things we are we are doing. So there's a question that, however, if one goes to Mathura, so yeah, Srila Prabhupada explains that people are looking for sense gratification. So if one goes to Mathura, Mandal, Bhumi for sense gratification or to make a livelihood, he commits an offense and is condemned. So people will even go to, they try to leave everything, and they want to go to a holy place, thinking they will, because they feel they be more near to God and they can do bhakti, but end up actually doing sense gratification there. If you do that, if one goes to Mathura, Mandal, Bhumi for sense gratification or to make a livelihood, he commits an offense and is condemned. However, whoever does so must be penalized. So if you want to go live in a holy place, for enjoyment only, you'll be penalized in the next life. How? By becoming a hog or a monkey in Vrindavan Dham. So basically, probably means that the monkeys and the hogs that there came down for sense gratification, but this is still in Vrindavan. So that's one thing. They haven't been totally condemned. Krishna is so forgiving that they turn into monkeys and hogs, but they're still in Vrindavan Dham. So after taking on such a body, then the offender is liberated in the next life. I suppose that's the power of Vrindavan Dham. Srila Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur remarks that residing in Vrindavan with a view to sense gratification surely leads a so-called devotee to a lower species. And you can check that. That's in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Leela 22.132. It's mentioned in, that's the reference for that. You can check that anyone who, residing in Vrindavan with a view to sense gratification surely leads a so-called devotee to a lower species. We leave our families, we leave our children, leave everything. I'm going to go and do bhakti in Vrindavan. Once you get there, you start a new family, more children, start a new life. So anybody goes, with that kind of intention, or ends up doing that, will suffer for that. So we require some sense. So Srila Prabhupada explains that yes, we do require some sense gratification. It's not like our senses are totally dry. They do require, especially grastas are allowed a little bit of sense gratification, but there's a way of sense gratification. Right? That's the key. So we require some sense gratification, and it says it's like salt. When you're making a preparation, salty preparation, it's like salt, not too much or too little. Too much will ruin, and if you do too little, then maybe your mind and senses will just rebel, right? They just had enough. Because there's an example of someone who went into the forest, and this is like a recent example, and they thought they could just chant and see Krishna, and then after a while they just came back and gave it up altogether. There has to be a method to the madness. There has to be a way of doing things. But the sense gratification we have needs to be related to Krishna. For example, make nice preps and offer to Krishna before honoring. So what he's saying is that yes, you want to satisfy the tongue with nice food, so that's fine. But don't just go out to all restaurants and Michelin star food and just gratify yourself. Make some nice prashadam, or get somebody who in the family who's a good cook, make some prasadam, and you're allowed to enjoy that. You can enjoy the prasadam, right? You're enjoying Krishna's remembrance, you're enjoying Krishna's mercy. So your senses will get some satisfaction. And also chanting and dancing can be offered to Krishna. So, you want to start going clubbing and, like that, dancing, dance, chant, sing, dance in the service of Krishna. So gratify your mind, enjoy, but do it for Krishna. And we can use our occupation services to serve Krishna, dovetail our enjoying. That's the thing. No harm in enjoying. Krishna doesn't mind us enjoying, but he's saying, please keep me with you as well. He's asking us. He wants to enjoy with us. He says, look, enjoy with me, or include me in your enjoyment, and we can all enjoy it together. That's the idea here. So there's no harm in enjoying, but it has to be dovetailed within Krishna's as a service to Krishna. So yeah, there's a 10 and 11 and 12. So let's do them on Wednesday, because I don't think we're going to finish them anyway. I want to hear from everybody. So what we discussed today. So we're talking about doing service. Yeah, and we're talking about your occupational service that we're doing. Why are we just doing service for our own enjoyment, or is Krishna in the picture somewhere or not? And then are we taking sense gratification? How are we gratifying our senses? Are we doing for our own selfish reasons, or extended selfish reasons, or are we doing anything for the soul as well? Or are we just doing things for the senses and the mind? What are we doing for the soul? Because when we include Krishna in the picture, then the soul is happy, right? We get bliss. We get bliss by connecting with Krishna, and Krishna is pleased as well, and that helps us to progress with the mercy we get. So thank you so much. Let's discuss, and let's start with the Pundikaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Danat Pranam. All those to Srila Prabhupada. Please accept my humble obeisances. Yeah, Prabhuji, these slokas are very amazing, especially the one before this sloka where it mentioned about Ahaituki and Apratihata, unmotivated and uninterrupted. So, for uninterrupted, Prabhupada has created so many facilities to us. So, anywhere in the world you go, you're finding devotees and you're finding temples. So it helps us to do a continuous service without any interruption, but unmotivated. So it's not that we don't need any motivation, we need a motivation, and that motivation is to develop love for Krishna. And so the activities, having this understanding, if you do not direct your activities which can actually develop that love for Krishna, then there is no point in having that understanding of I am the body, I am not the body, I am the soul, I am the soul. So Prabhupada explained another purport. Dharma means that which cannot be detached from the object. So, for example, water is a liquid state, fire has a heat. Like that, the soul dharma is to eternally serve the Lord. Jivira Swarupa Nitya Krishna Das. Eternally, we are the servants of the Lord. And we have been given an opportunity to come to this world and perform the activities by which we can develop that loving relationship with the Lord. But after coming to this world, we are often covered by this material Maya, and we engage in so many activities. So Prabhupada mentioned about concentrated and extended. So we either engage in our own satisfaction or for satisfying the other people. But once our knowledge is convinced that what is our actual goal, then we have to direct our activities for giving pleasure to the Lord. Even when when I was doing this japa session, I come across a Prabhupada statement where Prabhupada mentioned that If you start some service, you never stop it. So, for example, if you're offering to the Lord 3 times a day, make sure you offer 3 times every day without breaking that. So, this service, whatever service we are doing, book service or whatever service we are doing it for the pleasure of the Lord and pleasure of the devotees. But when we actually try to find our own pleasure, that is where we end up getting anxiety and not getting interest, and finally breaking down. And we may actually come out of devotional service even though we got a pinch of it as well from by the association. And yeah, I mean, we have to utilize all our accumulations. Generally, in our India, Prabhuji, like people say that once you get an IIT admission, they said that it's a Pura Janma Sukriti, because of which you got admission into IIT. But even though you are getting into IIT, but if you do not inquire about the absolute truth or your own existence, then what is the use of that knowledge as well? So if you have the knowledge, if you have the right skills and utilize it for understanding about the absolute truth, the cause of all causes, and for which there is no other cause. So utilize your skills in a right way and understand your own position according to the in relationship with the Lord. Otherwise, there is no point in having accumulation of so many things. Like intelligence is also not enough if you are not using your intelligence in a right way. That's our pleasure. Like whatever service we do it for the pleasure of the Lord, not for our own pleasure. Like going out for book distribution, doing kirtan. Often people say this, like when you do kirtan, you'll say how many people are actually impressed by my kirtan or these things, but it's not really required. And Mayapur Prabhu on this Friday when I went, he mentioned very nice point that Prabhupada once said, I have created all these services because you can't chant properly. So the highest perfection we have to achieve is to develop that love for chanting the holy name. But since we cannot do that, Prabhupada said he introduced all these services so that by doing these services, you can develop that loving relationship with the Lord and perfection your chanting. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, so we chant, and some people may argue that, oh, chanting is devotional service, so I'm doing. But yeah, Prabhupada says that chant and also do some service as well. And thing is, basically, when we're chanting, we are saying, please engage me in your loving service. And if you just keep saying it and don't do it, then Krishna saying, well, you sure you want this? Because I'm giving you service, but you don't want it. Say, oh, Prabhuji, I don't have time, or I don't want this service. Then why is chanting and saying, please engage me? Because that's the meaning of Hare Krishna mantra, that engage me in your loving service. And the presiding deities of the Maha Mantra, every mantra has presiding deities. Presiding deities of a Maha Mantra is Radha and Krishna. So we are chanting their mantra and we're saying, please engage me in your service. Then when the service comes along, then you should do it, right? Whichever service, we're talking about psychophysical nature. So whichever service you can do, you should do it. Sometime in emergency, you might have to help in other services that short of people, you have to help out. But naturally, do the service that you can do well, and offer to Krishna enough to please him. So yeah, thank you so much, Kiran Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just want to go back to what happened last week. Deepak Prabhu said two things about cleaning the skylights in his house, but those skylights are in our own hearts and our own eyes and our own minds and our own ears. Our ears are full of wax, so we have to remove that to hear clearly. And so it's those skylights that let in the clear message and the clear light. And yeah, he also talked about the sages and using AI. We have to embrace technology to improve our lives as well. They can be good and bad in everything. They can be good and bad in our professions. Occupations was talked about earlier. So we can do occupation, but do it with Krishna in the center of it. Go the extra mile, because as a clinician and as a social worker, I did a little bit more than I was asked to do, because be selfless in your devotion, because ultimately, we can be in a kind of a service role as well, where you're getting paid for doing service to humanity. But some of that payment should go back into the development of humanity as well. And ultimately, I think what was the most catching thing of verse 1.29 was the monkey and the banana. That's us. That's me, myself, I'm trying to catch and grab the banana, and and failing to realize that I'm being entrapped by this illusion. This is the glass we have to break. That glass has to be broken to access the divine wisdom which is embraced in the mango or the banana. Break it in a way where you can realize that you are detaching yourself from the material glass, the material jail, the material cage where we are looking after the cage, but not the bird. The bird is the soul. The soul needs to be looked after more importantly, and hence our focus has to be on the soul and its journey. It is like you also said, we're caught up in this material rat race. We're like that mice on that wheel. One house, two houses, four Lamborghinis. You can only drive one car at a time. You can only wear one Louis Vuitton. You can only take one Louis Vuitton bag at a time. Whether it's a Louis Vuitton bag or a Poundland bag, it's still a bag. It serves the same purpose. Let's be realistic. We have so much more to gain and so much more to lose. If we've been given this opportunity to relish these words of wisdom, let's take it before it's too late. Let's use this life for Srila Prabhupada's wisdom and for embracing and bringing the Atma and the Paramatma together. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, we are stuck in this rat race, and sometimes it's just like competition. We're just competing with others, just for we're never gonna have much use for these things, but we just do it just to keep up with the Joneses, as they say. So yeah, it's very futile. I'll ask to Hina Mataji, because I know she normally has to go early. So yeah, please to hear from you, Mataji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you so much for the class. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Very nice verses covered here. I was just reflecting on the fact that we have this human body which allows us to understand transcendental literature, understand the meaning of life, unlike animals and other moving, non-moving entities. So we are in it's a very, very, very rare opportunity, a very special opportunity. And our ultimate goal is to develop love of God, and our consciousness should be dovetailed for that purpose. And I liked the point that you called out, Prabhuji, about how we should play to our strengths. So as Krishna has given us certain skills, certain talents, we should use those in his service, whether that's in our vocational role or in our devotional life as well. The fruits of that work should be offered back to him. And I was just thinking about some other book I must have read recently about how the goal, one of Srila Prabhupada's books, about the goal is not to work like asses and donkeys. I think they were the animals he was referring to, for sense gratification, and how people nowadays, they tend to overwork too much, which causes stress and other problems, mental illness, etc. So, and it's usually driven by greed as well, and people forgetting that actually at the end of the day they're going to die. They can't take any of this with them at the end of the day, whether it's excess wealth, property, etc. And they're trying to earn in excess of what they need, whereas Krishna's already given everybody a quota, and that quota you're going to get with a little bit of perseverance, but not overwork, essentially. So, yeah, that was it, really. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, and also these 5 types of miseries which I mentioned, I mean, anything aside, if there's no reference, you can always check, just put a keyword in Google, pavarg, avarg, apavarg, and then there's so much information on there, back to Godhead, desire tree. You can pick up so much information to understand that topic better of these 5 types of miseries. And also there's Prabhupada Vani, and a lot of the information comes from Prabhupada Vani, where Prabhupada's lectures are there on each verse. Not necessarily every verse lecture is there, but a lot of the verses, there are lectures. If you have time, you can go through Srila Prabhupada's lecture, and you can understand any topic that stands out for you. You want to know more, like that, you can go through them. You can either listen to Prabhupada or his transcripts, you can read them, and the information is that we discuss here is you'll find either in the classes or his room conversations, his walks. All the information is there. So thank you so much, Mataji. Yes, Dr. Deepak. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranams. With these 2 shlokas, the one prominent thing which came to my mind was that when we start doing bhakti or try to follow any path of bhakti or sadhana, then people in and around us, start thinking like, you are going to become a sannyasi, don't talk like this, because obviously you start getting detached from the materialistic things. You don't like to go to cinema, you don't like to watch movies, you don't like to do like general materialistic activities. And even people in your home or your neighbors or your friends and family, they're saying, oh, it's a sannyasi, he's getting sannyasi, he's going to leave everything. So that's when I think this was very much conveyed in these 2 verses, that is not the case. You can still do your dharma, arth, kam and moksha, but keep Krishna in the center. So if I am doing any kind of duty, if I am doing my job, I should do it sincerely, keeping Krishna in the center, that once I do my job in a sincere way, I'll get some wages. That wages will help me kind of fulfill the the normal duties that I have as a father, as a husband, as a son, and I'll able to engage those that money in Krishna consciousness. I'll able to help my family. So in those way, if we keep Krishna in the center, I think that takes care of a lot of things, and plus kind of gives an real motive to doing all those duties and not just engage in materialistic things. Second is that as I was thinking about these verses and everybody's discussion, a yesterday's song just came into my mind, and I think that fits very much with these verses. It says, everything I do it for you. So everything you do in your day-to-day activities, just do it for Krishna. And I think that takes care of a lot of all those things. Just keep him in his mind. And like Krishna says, you take one step towards me and I'll take the rest 100 towards you. And I think as we progress slowly and steadily in this path of bhakti or sadhana, you eventually experience that. You might dedicate some amount of time towards him, and then the amount of love and the amount of dedication that he develops in your mind. It's like that. Prabhupada always says that seed and that love is always there. We just need to kind of water that seed. And once we start watering it, the speed that this tree grows in our mind, in our hearts, in that inner bhakti, it just kind of proliferates and it just comes out to a being. So that was the key takeaway from me, that do whatever you want to do, just keep Krishna in the center and revolve your life around it, around him. My daughter always, being a teenager, obviously she always used to say, Papa, we need a bigger house, we need a bigger house. And we had a couple of kirtan sessions at our home, and obviously being a new build, I felt no, yes, definitely sometimes the room is crammed up. But then I thought that, okay, if I have to do it, and I like having kirtans at my home, I just want to reach a state where some, let's say that there is kirtan sangha and you couldn't find a venue, and I will just say, okay, that my house is a default. If you can't find a venue, come to my house. You can't find a venue. So what I have started doing is I've extended the garage. The work is going on in presently. So the main and sole purpose of that is to have a kirtan sangha whenever that is wanted. And I think that is just a very, very tiny attempt of me trying to keep Krishna in the center. Of course, it is going to bless my house. It is going to bless the surroundings. But the main thing was, obviously, we are three members. The house is big enough for us. But I wanted to have Krishna, so that is for him only. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. That's very nice, Prabhu. And I like that, we can connect things around us. Like Prabhupada always connected everything that was happening, whatever we heard, whatever we saw, with Krishna. So yeah, that's it's all about the consciousness. We're still doing what we were doing before, but just do it with a different consciousness. That's the only thing. We're still living the life. We're going to work, we're going to sleep. We're doing everything, right? But we do it with a different consciousness. This is why Prabhupada called it Krishna consciousness. It's really, that's what it's about, consciousness. And it's good, we're on the right track with that. Okay. Let's hear from Praveen Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very nice realizations from everyone. I'm very happy to hear Deepak Prabhu's endeavor. So that's what Srila Prabhupada is telling us from, in everything, that's endeavor. We shouldn't be doing endeavor for the mundane activities. It should be done for Krishna. So, and in these two verses, the main message is, like for me, we have to detach from the attachments and sense gratification. The purpose of human life is to attain love of God, and for the soul as well, we have to see what is the food for the soul, which is devotional service. We look after our bodies, but we ignore the soul. So I like the example of the bird in the cage. So there was an example given, like somebody buys a golden cage but doesn't feed the bird. So that is what we are doing. And then the example of monkey as well. That's us. We keep trying the same things and we keep running after the material relations and forgetting Krishna. So this morning we're reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 13, and it explains how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was crying in ecstasy. And we, like myself, I don't feel separation. It's very rare. I feel like, we are separated from Krishna, but we are so busy in the material life. So yeah, basically we just have to endeavor whatever we can do for Krishna. And now, as we all know, Mahaprabhu's mother has left her body, and everybody's getting so much comfort attending the kirtans. So when you're attached, and you feel so good, the mother, what she has given her two sons. And everybody who's coming, they're getting the bliss as well. So, yeah, so we can only pray, all the children, they follow the same path. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you, Mataji. And there's another example of, I can't remember the exact names right now. The Guru shows his disciple, he hugs a tree and he's shouting, let me go, let me go. And the disciples go, what's happened to my Guru? Why are you acting like this? He's showing him that we are the ones who are holding tight to Maya, right? And we're saying, oh, let me go, but we're the ones who are holding it so tightly, like hugging a tree, and we're telling the tree to let us go. So yeah, it's like that. It's in our hands, whether we want to let it go or not. We have the power to let it go if we decide to do it. Thank you, Radharani. That's something.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Yeah, lovely start to the week. There's a treasure trove in Srimad Bhagavatam. Every time we open Srimad Bhagavatam, or every time we attend the discussions or listen to Srimad Bhagavatam, amazing shlokas keep coming. And this is just the beginning. So what I take home from today's discussion is that, everything in material life comes with a side effect. When we have a medicine, doctors will give us the leaflet, and it says on it the side effect for this fraud coming from this medicine. So I was thinking that why don't we get transcendental side effects? Keep Krishna in the center of all our activities, so the side effects will be not material, it will be transcendental. So this is what we need. The need of our life is to get all the transcendental bliss, all the transcendental so-called side effects. The devotional service is going to give us all this transcendental bliss, and this is what we need to have. This is what we have got this body for. We know that after all these, in all these species, bhakti is not possible. Only human form in this cage, which is the human cage, this is possible, and we have to utilize it to the best of our abilities. We don't feel bliss all the time. We don't feel urge all the time to do, because our cage has got so much, defects as well. We'll feel well, we'll feel good, we'll feel emotionally high, we'll feel emotionally low, we'll get so many threefolds of miseries also coming from all around. But like Prabhupada reminds us again and again, make best use of the bad bargain. And the analogies Prabhupada keeps coming in his various lectures, in his various purports, are amazing. Definitely, we are monkeys, and we may have been devatas also in one of our past lives. We don't know. But the free will. So there's so many things we have to keep in our mind when we are trying to do devotional service. We have to keep check on our free will. We have to keep Krishna in the center, and like I said, check on Maya. Check on Maya. The key for me today is rather have transcendental side effects than have material side effects in this life. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. So we've done 8 and 9. We'll do 10, 11, 12 on Wednesday, and we'll discuss it. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Srimad ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Hare Krishna.
Gaur Prema.
Hari Hari Bol.